Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's update on Hurricane Ian. So, Hurricane Ian has become a major hurricane now, and as of 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Tuesday, September the 27th, Hurricane Ian has maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 950 millibars, and is moving north at 12 miles per hour. It is situated directly over the western areas of Cuba and are bringing very dangerous conditions to the western portions of the island. Looking at the satellite imagery of Hurricane Ian now looks like a classic major hurricane. It's got a well-defined eye. It's got a well-defined eye wall with a solid convection ring around the eye, and we are seeing very heavy rain bands moving across west central Cuba over the Florida Keys, and we are now seeing very heavy rain bands move into areas of the Everglades, into Naples, and in Miami. So conditions across South Florida are only going to deteriorate over the next 24 to 48 hours as Hurricane Ian continues to move closer and closer to Florida. And unfortunately, I have some very bad news to share with you with regards to the track of Ian, as it has once again shifted more to the east, and now we are expecting a landfalling major hurricane over Tampa Bay uh, Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. So this is a very bad situation that has unfolded. Uh, so Ian is expected to uh, become a Category 4 hurricane as it moves just west of the Florida Keys uh, tonight, and then into Wednesday afternoon. It is expected to dramatically slow down as it approaches the southwestern coast of Florida, and by 2 a.m. Thursday, Ian is expected to make landfall directly over Tampa, Florida, and then by 2 p.m. it barely moves inland to near Ocala, and by 2 a.m. Friday, we see the storm sitting uh, somewhere between Ocala and Gainesville, and then it moves into the southeast into Georgia and the Carolinas Saturday and Sunday. Hurricane warnings are in effect for uh, the western parts of Cuba, tropical storm warnings for north central or for west central Cuba. Tropical storm or hurricane warnings are in effect for the western Florida Keys, and hurricane warnings are in effect for the west central coast of Florida, including Tampa, with tropical storm warnings covering most of the west coast of Florida and the Florida Keys. We have tropical storm watches all the way up to Panama City Beach, hurricane watches in the Big Bend of Florida, as well as tropical storm warnings, and then tropical storm warnings over Lake Okeechobee and for the east central coast of Florida, and tropical storm watches extending through northeast Florida into southeast Georgia. So much of Florida is going to be seeing dangerous impacts from Ian. And looking at the latest spaghetti model plots, in 24 hours, Ian is expected to move northwest of the Florida Keys, and we're starting to see model deviation in 48 to 72 hours out, where some models make a landfall in 48 hours and others move it a lot slower, making a landfall in 72 hours. So this will dramatically affect the duration of the impacts, my friends, you will see in Florida. And then now, and this is where the dramatic shift east comes in, the models have shifted about 100 miles east. So now it moves Ian through Florida. Several models take it back over the far western Atlantic, uh, east of Georgia, and make another landfall in South Carolina or Georgia in the next 72 to 96 hours. So South Carolina, you need to start preparing for at least tropical storm, maybe even hurricane conditions in the next 4 to 5 days from Ian. And looking at the intensity model guidance, um, Now Ian is expected to make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane in the next 48 to in the next 48 hours, but if it waits 72 hours, it'll weaken to a Category 2 or 1. So if we can delay landfall just a little bit, we can get some of that dry air into the system and weaken it before landfall. So let's hope that happens. So anyway, thanks for watching this brief update on Hurricane Ian. I'll be doing a much deeper dive onto the impacts in this evening's update. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Stay safe and make sure you're making your hurricane preparations if you live on the west coast of Florida.